JQ, what's going on? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Blessed to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You already know it.
Dope setup. I love it.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Let's talk to him. You living or you surviving?
Both.
Explain.
I'm living because I'm breathing, being able to spend time with my family, pay my bills.
Real.
And pursue my dream.
That's right.
But at the same time,
come on now,
I'm surviving.
Come on.
And what I mean by that is, I find myself making a lot of sacrifices.
Gotcha.
If I'm not at work or if I'm at work, I'm not spending time with my family.
Real.
If I'm at work, I'm not spending time on my business.
Real.
So that's why I say I'm living and I'm surviving.
Real.
But I'm just blessed.
Just blessed. Respect.
Welcome to the Integrity Response with your brother CEO Khacki. Every individual sitting across from me doesn't believe in being typical, ordinary, or familiar. They're elite, meaning society's norms don't sit well with them. They believe in raising the bar for themselves, family, and for those they may never meet. From those in humble beginnings to those in the midst of greatness and legends who've paved the way. With a comedic edge, I will ask the questions that hold value, and I believe we'll gain insight to the real them. It's the Integrity Response.
Q, let's talk to him. Before PR work, management, entrepreneurship, podcasting, at the age of 9, what did you want to be?
I want to be in the WNBA.
Come on, that's what's up.
Yeah, my dad, he instilled that in me.
Real.
Yeah, I want you to go play professionally.
Who were you looking at? Who were you modeling after that early on?
I honestly didn't have anyone to look up to
Gotcha.
until I got to high school, actually middle school, and it was Allen Iverson.
Come on.
Allen Iverson. When I say I had everything from the finger band to the headband, to the shoes, to the jersey. I mean, he was my role model. I wanted to be like AI.
Real. You grew up. You was born. Let's take him back. You was born in what state?
In Montgomery,
Alabama.
Yes.
6 months later.
Moved to LA.
Gotcha. And from LA, you was there for about what, second, third grade or? So
we left Los Angeles in year 2000. So I was 11 years old.
Gotcha.
And then we moved to Raleigh. And that was 2000 to 2016.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Montgomery to LA.
Uh-huh.
So you pretty much coastal.
Yeah.
You've seen everything.
Yeah.
What does that do to a young kid early on?
It definitely exposes them to different walks of life.
Real.
I know when we were living in Inglewood, which y'all know was not a really good neighborhood to raise children in, but my parents, they worked out in Redondo Beach. My mom, she worked out in Redondo Beach.
Gotcha.
So on the weekend, they would take us out there to spend time with their kids.
Gotcha.
And they were Caucasian, so we would spend time with them at the beach, get to know them and their culture, and they would do the same thing with us.
Gotcha.
So my parents at an early age taking us to the movies,
Real.
taking us to the beach, and just like I said, exposing us to different types of things, because they knew where we lived. It was rough.
Gotcha.
Very, very rough.
And you said your dad, he actually worked for the airlines.
Yes, he
Gotcha.
at the time he worked for Northwest, but then
Gotcha.
Delta bought out Northwest. So
Team Delta.
Yeah, Team Delta.
That's my mom worked 22 years at Delta.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
right,
my dad has been in the airline industry for what, 34, 35
Gotcha.
years.
My father-in-law has been at Delta for 35 or 36
Wow.
years. Yep, definitely.
Wow.
So it's Team Delta. That's
Team
it.
Delta.
That's what's up.
All the way.
That's what's up. Definitely. So from there, you guys moved to Raleigh.
Yes.
And Raleigh, you said you was about 11 years old.
11 years old. Yep.
Raleigh's also pretty much very diverse, like Atlanta.
Yes.
So you got to see a different lens from there. And this is when you started sports.
Yes, that's when I
Gotcha.
started
Come
playing
on.
sports. When my parents found out that I can go to school for free. Oh yeah, that's
Gotcha.
when that's when they went all in,
Real.
and like I said, they were very adamant making sure that we went to college because neither one of my parents has a college degree. So I'm the first one in the family to attend college. Yes.
Gotcha. So before we get to what you played, siblings.
Yes.
How many do you have?
I have 2. I'm the oldest.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So how younger are they? Just 2 years, 3 years younger?
So she is Shay Shay. She's 2 years younger than me.
Gotcha.
And then my baby sister, she's what, 4, 5, 6? 6.
Gotcha.
6 years younger than me. Yeah. So I'm the oldest.
Is everybody here in Atlanta or the
Yes, everyone is finally.
Here?
Yeah,
Wow,
that was my mom's dream. She wanted everyone to move back to Atlanta or move to Atlanta because my 2 younger sisters also played college basketball.
Gotcha.
So she knew that once everyone graduated, she wanted the family to be back together. So we're all here in Atlanta.
That's dope. So you played volleyball and ran track and field as well.
Oh, you did your research.
Come on, man.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Come on now.
Yeah, man. I played volleyball, ran track. I tried softball, but I was too scared of the ball. It was coming too fast. And basketball. And then I think my sophomore year, actually my junior year, my parents told me I had to pick one sport.
Gotcha.
But I knew I also loved volleyball as much as I loved basketball.
Man. Was this anything dealing with grades slipping or anything, or it's just because we needed to hone in? Gotcha.
Because again, we're almost to that finish line where we need to start applying for schools and going on recruiting and things like that. So you need to focus on one sport.
Gotcha.
And what's crazy is I actually got scholarships for volleyball as well.
Gotcha.
They were more D2, D3. Okay. Basketball was D1 and D2. Dope. So I just made the ultimate decision just to pursue basketball. Really? But I love volleyball.
Gotcha. Two questions: your position and your number.
For basketball, 3 point guard.
There we go. That's why I asked.
I made sure every year I had the number 3 jersey.
That's real.
And I would fight.
That's right, buddy.
If I didn't get it.
That's real for sure. And you said what position was?
Point guard.
Point guard. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you got a little height on you. So you know what I'm saying? Like you, to be a point guard, I'm thinking about high school.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What was your left or right-handed?
Right.
Gotcha.
But I could dribble with both hands. Wow. And I was better coming off a screen dribbling with my left hand.
Gotcha.
And see, what my parents did was when we did chores around the house, they would make me put my right hand behind my back and do everything with my left hand. So when it got time for me to play, I was comfortable dribbling with my left hand.
Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's dope. Your parents, that's okay. Let's stop right there. That's not normal. Your parents are really, they have something special about them.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, my mom had me when she was 17 in high school, and she actually had a scholarship to run track.
Gotcha.
But she had me, so she couldn't pursue her dream to run track.
Gotcha.
Both born in Montgomery, Alabama. As you guys know, there's not much out in Montgomery. Absolutely. So that's why we moved to LA.
Right.
And, raising a child at the age of 17, 18.
Wow.
My mom didn't have any of her family members there until years later where she brought her younger sister.
Gotcha.
They have done an amazing job being able to put 3 of their girls through college.
That's what's up.
And now they're able to live their life.
That's right. Right. All right. Let's bring on the grandkids now. just once or twice a month. That's real though. That's real.
Yes. And kudos to them.
That's dope.
And I know they had it rough coming up. You had people telling them, it's gonna be hard raising 3 kids and y'all ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna be anything. Wow. But they pushed through.
That's right.
And my mama's a praying mama, so
that's right. Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. So your dad knew, even at an early age, first opportunity, California, we're going here, we're trying to make a way, I have to lead.
Yes.
I hope the men watching this understand that. That's real.
And he knew it was hard for us, because I would never forget that day when he called us and he said, we have to leave LA. And at that time, we're 10, 11 years old. All friends are there. We're like, why? We're crying. Why we have to leave? Now, of course, they didn't go into much detail because of the neighborhood that we stayed in. But my parents were like, we got to move. We want to go south. And actually, Raleigh, North Carolina, at the time, I'm not sure if it is still now, but they were ranked as one of the top cities to raise a family.
Wow.
So that's the reason why we moved to Raleigh.
Gotcha.
And my parents, they disciplined us. We were very disciplined. We weren't allowed to go over to our friend's house to spend the night.
They were allowed to come over there, though?
No.
Okay.
No. My parents did not play that. And
Gotcha.
you know, when I look back now at my high school friends, they're either in jail or multiple baby daddies.
Go ahead.
And at the age being in high school, I'm not seeing that. I'm like, Mama, this is my friend. She's not your friend, sweetie. So I look back now, I'm like, this is what my parents were trying to tell me.
Wow.
And you know, we all go through that at that age where we know everything.
Absolutely. You being hard. You doing too much. You ain't even. This is my friend. Wow. They're like, no, I see things you can't even fathom. I see things, and I've been through that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, my parents did a really good job.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
really good job, and I love them to death.
Shout out to them. To them. That's dope. What was your favorite subject in school, in grade school, before we get to college?
I would say social studies.
Gotcha. Why is that? That's probably the first or second time I heard it.
I was very intrigued with history.
Gotcha.
That was in middle school, going into high school, maybe my last 2 years.
Gotcha.
I started finding the love for theater.
Real.
And acting and producing, like theater plays and things like that.
Was it more so in the front or behind the scenes? Or?
Both.
Gotcha.
Both. When I say I love theater plays, like the William Shakespeare's Macbeth, I actually was one of the witches, and I tuned in. I tapped into that witch's personality and character. When I say I think I was obsessed.
Gotcha. But you took off yourself and put on something.
Yes. Yeah. Theater. I think from that point, I knew that I wanted to be in media.
Real.
In production.
Gotcha.
When I start taking that more seriously.
Real.
Mm-hmm.
So from here, did any of your friends, were they in theater as well?
No.
Gotcha. Mm-mm. That's normally when people start taking on, when they like, okay, my friend's here. You really went out on a limb and was like, that's what I want to do.
But I've always been like that.
Gotcha.
I've always been a one person where I don't hang out with a clique. I stay to myself, and I've always been like that.
As the point guard in high school, who mimics Allen Iverson, known by, I'm pretty sure you were popular just because of
sports.
And you kind of stayed to yourself, even being the floor general.
Yes.
Wow.
And I guess when it came to high school, you know how much politics play into youth sports, or just sports in general.
That's right.
There were a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes where the coach played favoritism.
I hear that a lot.
So, you know, she wanted certain players to outdo me. And I started seeing that. I would tell my mom, and I'm like, you know what? That's okay. I'm just going to stay focused and do what I got to do. And I had teammates that didn't like me because for that reason, I wouldn't hang out with them.
Gotcha.
But I knew that, you know, you get more attention when you're by yourself. People notice you when you're by yourself. And until this day, I'm okay with that.
Your parents didn't have a lot of adults in and out of the house, did they?
No, they did not. Mm-mm.
You don't realize it until you get older.
Yes.
It was a reason why.
A reason why. Now we'll have our family members.
Absolutely.
But you have certain family members that they would keep away from us because they knew what they were capable.
Absolutely. And didn't even want to take a chance.
Didn't even want to take a chance.
Wow.
And like you said, at that age, why we can't go over and play with our cousin? You don't need to go over there right now. So everything. Too many grown folks over there.
Go ahead, real. But everything they did as far as the outlet, it honed in on a skill.
Yes.
Real. Real. So from here, we're in high school. Take your fans, take your supporters back. Fill in the blank. In high school, I was known as the kid that
was really good at sports.
Real, for sure.
I won it was so bad in high school where we had our annual banquet. I didn't even go.
No.
Because I didn't think that I would win an award.
Gotcha.
Come to school the next day, the same coach that didn't want to I don't want to say she didn't play me, but she played favoritism.
Gotcha.
The very next day I walk into the gym, she hands me the female athlete award for the entire school.
Wow.
You know, that was a moment for me.
Wow.
For one, because she had to give me the award.
Humility.
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad to where I didn't want to partake. I didn't want to hang out.
Didn't want to do anything.
I didn't want to do anything.
More than you had to do.
I just wanted to do what I had to do, which was go to practices, go to games, and then I'll leave.
Wow.
I would dread going to some of the.
You sucked the fun out of sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
There were times where she would have like a gathering at the house, and I would dread going. And I remember asking my mom, I said, Mom, I don't want to go to this event. And she's like, no, you're going to go. And I feel that to this day, that taught me to fight through adversity.
Real.
You don't want people to know that they done got to you.
Never let them see you sweat.
Never let them see you
Real.
sweat. But yeah, it was pretty bad in high school.
Real.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So from there, let me ask you this. What was your first job? Was it in high school?
Yeah, my parents had us working at a library.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Different.
In the summertime, yeah.
You don't hear that too often. Gotcha. It's all three of y'all.
All three of us.
Wow.
And it was actually volunteer work.
Dope.
We didn't get paid for that. No, we would work in the summertime when we didn't have practices and camps and things like that. We would be in the library.
Very different. Structure. Decent and in order. Were y'all raised in the church as well?
I wouldn't say we were raised in the church, but we did attend church.
Gotcha. For sure. Gotcha. It was relationship.
Yes.
Relationship with God.
Yes.
That's right.
And when it comes to religion, the way that I see it is you don't have to go to church to know God. That's where my mom and I kind of fight on a little bit.
I got you.
And I'll go to church. If I'm not at work, I'm in church.
Real.
My mom, she goes to church every Sunday.
Real.
But she knows not to get too deep into the church.
I got
because
you.
that's when drama starts.
Understood.
And like I said, we don't want no parts of that.
Understand.
We go to church, we praise the Lord, we're cordial with everyone, we'll volunteer here and there. But other than that,
Real. I understand that. And that's trust. I'm a son of a preacher man. I grew up in the church. Played drums in the church growing up. I understand exactly what you're saying.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot.
Seen a lot. For sure. For sure. Let's talk to him. Let me ask you this. Prior to college, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self any type of advice, what would you tell him? Her, sorry.
Make better decisions. And remember that every decision that you make, there's a consequence to it. I would say my freshman year, I made some decisions that I wish I wouldn't have made. And sadly, when you talk to people that you feel that are there to guide you and mentor you, that's not their intention. Instead of going to the individuals that's going to tell you right from wrong.
Right.
And they love you. And they can care less if they're hurting your feelings or not.
Real.
So sometimes, I look back and say, if I would have went to the right person to guide me and give me a better decision or help me make a better decision, I wouldn't be in this predicament that I'm in.
Gotcha. It's real. It's real. Let's take them on. Let's take them on to college. NCAA.
Yes.
D1. Where do we go? We're actually at Maryland.
Maryland Eastern Shore.
Come on.
Yeah, MEAC conference.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Come on. So
HBCU.
What was this like? Oh, so you go a little bit north, not too far, but just enough to where nobody could pop up on you.
Yeah. Well, my parents were gonna pop up on me. Actually, my parents stayed in my school. My dad would pop up unannounced, sit in the back of the classroom.
That's real. Stop playing.
Because I was a talker in school.
Gotcha.
And that's what I got in trouble for in school, was being a talker.
Gotcha.
So my dad, he found out, every so often in his Northwest uniform,
right.
he would pop in the class, sit in the back, and just watch everything.
Wow.
But yeah, so Maryland Eastern Shore, HBCU, I loved it.
That's dope.
The culture there. Now, when it came to the program itself, I didn't think it was a good fit for me.
Gotcha. Do you feel like your wings were clipped, or you felt like it was it was limiting growth, or do you feel like it was?
I don't think it was limiting growth because I knew going in that I was going to play the backseat of the starting point guard, which was an upperclassman. So I was okay with that. But that was the first half of the season. The second half of the season, she violated a team rule and was kicked off the team. So then that left me as the starting point guard.
Gotcha.
And when I made the decision to leave, everyone looking at me, why are you leaving? Like you're a freshman starting at the point guard position.
Gotcha.
Why are you leaving? The program itself, I didn't feel like was a good fit for me.
Wow.
Again, my childhood focus, determination, I felt that was being tested.
Gotcha.
And so I made the decision to leave. And transfer.
Exactly 1 year, half a year?
1 year.
1 year.
After that full year, I put in my transfer
and you ended
request.
up in Texas?
In Texas at a JUCO. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep, Angelina College. It was bad.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not gonna lie to you. It was bad.
Gotcha.
Off the court.
Okay.
I was excelling. I was the starting point guard, captain of the team.
Gotcha.
There was a young man that I met there that definitely threw me off course.
Was he in school as well?
He was in school. He was actually part of the men's basketball program.
Okay.
And for that, I failed 2 classes.
Okay.
Never failed a class. I was an AB honor roll student up until when I got to JUCO. And that relationship was just so toxic. I failed 2 classes. I wasn't performing like I was supposed to on the court. Towards the end of the year, when it was time for me to find out where my next home was going to be, at the time, North Texas and Louisville were recruiting me hard.
Wow.
But back in the day, you had to have an associate's degree to transfer to Division I, back to Division I.
Gotcha.
And because I didn't want to go to summer school to get my degree, I went to D2.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to hold myself accountable for the decisions that I made.
Understand it.
But I also allowed another human being to deter that.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And from there, you spent another, so you had to, there in Texas, you had to wait another year, or was it?
So when I finished my sophomore year, that's when I transferred again to a Division II school in North Carolina.
And you was able to obtain your associates then?
No.
Before you left?
No.
Okay, you still was able to, okay, that's what you're saying. I went there and then obtained the associates.
So I never received my associate's degree because I failed to go to summer school.
I gotcha.
Never done summer school a day in my life. I always thought summer school was for the bad kids or the dumb kids. I'm like, I'm not a dumb or bad kid.
Understand.
I said, I'm not going to summer school. So because of that reason, I couldn't play at Louisville. Couldn't play at North Texas, so I went to a Division II school in North Carolina.
Okay. How far was this from hometown?
About 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Still outside but we know Pops can pull up.
Yes. Well, at this time, he was working a lot. When Delta bought out Northwest, he had to move to Detroit.
Gotcha.
Because
is he air traffic control? What is he?
Baggage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he's ground level.
Exactly.
Okay, understand. And at this time, this is when I know the boom. I know how all this. My mom actually worked 16 years, and they called her back and finished 6 years. I know how much they're needed. Right.
So when the station closed down in Raleigh for Northwest, my mom wasn't having him leaving to go work for a different company. She said, we got to do what we got to do. If that means you have to transfer to another station, to a different state, that's what we're going to do.
Gotcha.
So he moved to Detroit.
Gotcha.
Then he moved to Memphis. Then he moved to Atlanta.
Wow.
So my college years, he wasn't at the games a lot like he was when I was playing high school ball. Right. So going back to your question, your statement, he wasn't popping up in college.
But definitely. But so how was this coming back, in a sense, home? How was that transition, there?
It was okay.
Did you start?
Yes.
Wow, so you ain't playing. You really.
I started at every school that I went to except for my freshman year, the first season.
Gotcha.
I was the backup point guard. But after that, I started on every single team that I played at.
Still maintain number 3.
Yes.
Dope.
Number 3. Yep. Wow. Point guard. Now, my last 2 years, it was a little bit better, but I don't think we had the right coaching staff. when you have a coach that comes to their captain to have a tough conversation with the players about certain things violating team rules, that's a problem for me.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm in that role to mediate.
Right.
But I shouldn't be the person to have that first initial conversation.
Gotcha.
That's something that a coach should do. Which is why I said I don't think she was a good fit. And we had a losing record.
Wow.
I tell everybody, my college career was not, I didn't have fun in college.
Wow.
I did not have fun in college at all. I went through it. And that's why I say, if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have made different decisions.
Were you working at this time in Texas or back home?
Not in Texas. At St. Andrews, the D2 school that I went to, I had a job on campus.
Gotcha.
I was working in the administration's office.
That's dope. Your major? We didn't discuss that.
So my major is communication studies.
Gotcha.
That's what most every athlete chose. Communications. Everybody did communication. I had a minor in theater arts.
Gotcha. For sure. Dope. That's what's up. So from here, let's talk about this. JQ. Have you always thought, and do you now think you've always been born for sports entertainment?
Yes.
Come on now. Come on.
Without any hesitation.
Real.
My way of thinking, how I go about building relationships, my skill sets when it comes to maintaining and managing and delegating, I'm for it.
Real.
That is my calling. And that's why I go so hard the way that I do, because I know my purpose while I'm here on earth is to help athletes, regardless of their grade level or their skill set. I'm here to help athletes and parents.
What type of personality trait do you think is most important to have to succeed, to elevate in your genre, your category?
I would say being relatable.
Gotcha.
Being relatable, because that's when you build trust or gain trust from other people, when you're able to relate to them.
Gotcha.
It doesn't mean you have to gone through the same experience as that individual, but just being able to relate.
That's right.
I think that's a big piece of in today's social media, when you have these content creators, influencers, business owners, they're putting on the front. No, that's not how you build trust within your community.
Wow. So we're at Sports PR Manager. You help with branding and recruiting.
Yes.
Give us an insight on this. You said from all ages, how does one get in contact with you? Do you normally do most of the soliciting, or it's connections,
Yeah, so a lot of people find me on social media.
Gotcha.
We know the power of social media.
Absolutely.
Right? It's free. Everyone people is on it.
It's free. That's so true.
Everyone is on there. Parents find me on social media, and then they'll send me a DM, or they'll go to my website and fill out a form that I have, and we'll have a consultation on what are their needs, what are their wants, what do you need help with? Because I do a number of things, whether it's social media management, or if it's helping you navigate through the recruiting process, if that's accompanying you and the athlete at a red carpet or an event, or helping them find media interviews and podcasts. I do a lot. So it just depends on that individual.
Branding outside of what they think they have to do.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even thinking about that. Like, you're like, no, I'm here. I'm building your brand from every
aspect. Because, the youth sports landscape has changed. Just sports landscaping in high school and college has changed tremendously over the last couple of years. So when I say I'm willing to work with any athlete on any level, if they're in middle school, if they're in high school or college, it's never too late. When it comes too late is when you're in your junior, senior year of your college career.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the reason why I say that, and I'm speaking from experience, and I want people to understand that this shit is real.
Yeah, go ahead.
As a college athlete, when you're seen as the big person on campus, everyone knows who you are.
Right.
But then once your time is up and that ball stops bouncing, Now you're entering the real world and no one knows you. Now you're just a number.
Gotcha.
And some athletes fall into depression. They lose their self-identity.
I understand. It's just to bring it in comparison. It's like the military man. You know, like all he knows, this is all I know. And then I go back to the civilian world, I'm like, man, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like this, like it's different, but that's real. I understand that. Definitely understand that.
So to help with that, now that you have NIL, personal branding, when you're young,
go ahead.
It's okay to think about what happens if you don't play professionally. What are some of your other passions or your other interests that you see yourself excelling in?
Real.
That could be in fashion, music, art, media, whatever that looks like. Start making those moves to where when it gets time for you to make that transition, it's not as difficult.
Gotcha.
You have a plan B.
Real.
Because everyone's plan A doesn't work out.
So that's also what you're building.
Yes.
Early on.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And you know, when NIL was passed in
Right.
2021, people immediately tied the NIL to making money, which at the end of the day, yes, that's what it's all about.
Right. And for those who don't know, NIL.
Name, image, and likeness, where
Gotcha.
an athlete can get paid off their name, image, and likeness.
Real.
So if you go back on my social media, 2012, I was already talking and emphasizing the importance of athletes building a personal brand.
Wow.
It wasn't for NIL because, of course, I couldn't predict the future, so I didn't know that was going to come to play. But I was coming from a perspective where if you build a personal brand now, that transition is going to be less difficult.
Real.
And
have more to work with in lieu of.
Exactly.
Building leverage early on. Because I find it within our Black community, we are always reacting instead of being proactive. And that's why you have these other kids outside of the Black culture that are ahead of the curve. They're already at point E before it even gets there because their parents are studying what's happening now. See, we wait until the last minute and try to play catch up. Right. And they go hard.
And it
could have been just walking the whole time.
The whole entire time.
Right.
So when I have these conversations with these parents, it's a little difficult.
Gotcha.
Because they want instant success.
Absolutely.
They want to see things happen right away, and it doesn't happen that way. Especially if your kid is in middle school or high school, it's going to take some time. Building a brand is a process.
About 30 seconds of your time. I really appreciate your support. With every interview, my aim is to bring integrity and fun back to the culture, and I can't do it without you. If you're enjoying this episode, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. I appreciate you. Back to the interview. You also mentioned before in a previous interview about how, you know, what you have to deal with the younger, you know, not saying students, but the younger, you know, they have this fear, as well as, you know, some have private profiles. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be in the know, you know, so even dealing with that too.
Yeah.
How is that a challenge? It
is a challenge because, you know, nowadays people want to be seem to look cool.
Cool, but less is more. 3 years, 5 pictures. It's real though. 3 years, 5 pictures.
And it's okay. It's okay to be hesitant to put yourself out there, but it's all about balance.
Gotcha.
You don't have to tell everybody what's going on in your personal life.
Right.
You're the owner of your brand.
Real.
So what you put out there is what people know.
Absolutely.
So you have to change your mindset. And this is something else that I talk to the kid and the parent about. When it comes to social media, you have to change your mindset when you're posting that this social media profile that you have is your resume.
Wow.
It's your online resume.
Wow, I like that.
It's not a platform just to get likes and the most views or anything like that. Now you have businesses, you have coaches that are paying attention to everything that you post, everything that you repost, like, share, comment on. They have people within their company that is going to follow, designated exactly to follow you and see what you're doing online, because you're going to be a part of their program, and they want to know, are you going to be a liability or an asset?
Wow.
But these are conversations that are not being held within the community, the sports community. And I get it. It's hard as a young kid to see your teammate that may be a 4 or 5 star elite athlete, and they're getting money thrown at them, and they're being featured in all these publications. And here you are, the 6th man off the bench, and you're not getting the same recognition. But who's to say that you can get the same recognition if you start building your
brand? Because we don't, outside of them, we don't know. And it could be that one person that doesn't know that has 1 million followers who are like, man, this little kid be grinding.
Exactly.
Man, this little kid let me repost this guy.
You have some kids out here that may not see the floor as much as the starting 5 or whoever, but they're booming on social media.
They're branding themselves.
And they may not get the opportunity to play at the next level in the professional league. But guess what? They're going to be working for the top sports agency.
Come on, that's real. Opportunities are coming.
The opportunities are not going to come if you set yourself up to where people are not going to want to invest in you. So if you want to get on social media and you want to post pictures at the gas. I don't know what is going on with these kids posting pictures at the gas station with these weird hand signs. I don't know if they're gang signs or whatever, but no one's going to invest in you. And that's just a matter of the truth.
How are you getting the parents to see, like, it's not like, tell Johnny to take that down, but how are you getting
educating?
Them to understand?
I'm really big on education. You'll see a lot of my social media posts that every single piece of content that I put out, for the most part, I'm providing value.
Real.
Which is either inspiring someone, entertaining them, or educating them.
That's right.
But education is the missing piece when you're working with these parents and athletes. Again, they want me to just come in and grow their following from 10 to 5,000 within 2 to 3 months. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
And I have to show them examples like this is what it's going to take. And it's not just going to be me that's putting in the work. You guys have to put in the work as well.
And because of that, sometimes relationships can fall out because they're like, well, it's not happening fast enough. It's not.
But see, that's why I had that conversation before I asked them to sign an agreement or take their money.
Gotcha.
I like to have a transparent or come to Jesus conversation because I want them to understand you're going to have to put in the work, and there are going to be expectations, just like how you have expectations for me.
That's right.
I'm also going to be looking for you guys to be in the forefront of this brand or in this process, taking the initiative. Don't wait on me. If there's an opportunity where you see that your child can get an NIL deal or a sponsorship, if they post this picture on this day at a camp, do that. But they won't know that if I didn't educate them on it. So that's why I'm really big on educating them. And there are times where it's still kind of difficult for them to comprehend on what's going on, but it also takes patience too. It
does, for sure. So how moving to the teens now? Let's go to around the high school, college. How is this demographic? How are you working with them, and how that is explored?
So Cam Jackson, shout out to Cam Jackson. He's the University of Florida defensive lineman. For sure. He's a senior, projected to go to the NBA, the NFL draft next year. Working with him has been an eye opener.
Wow.
Because especially working with an athlete that's at a powerhouse school, their time or their availability is limited.
Gotcha.
Not as much as a high school athlete. So being able to manage his time, like we have this calendar where he'll inform me of, practices, meetings, of course his personal life too, where he needs some free time. So I'm able to coordinate podcasts and interviews and different appearances and things like that. So I would say when it comes to the management part is being able to book him for things that are around his schedule. Yes. Gotcha. I think that's the hardest part between working with the high school and the college players. The parents are still involved and they starting to get it. They see it because they're in college. Whereas a high school parent, they still got some years to go, and they're not seeing, the future.
Gotcha. You have to have tough skin.
Oh, yeah.
To go through all this.
And not taking things personal. Now, I'm going to be honest. If something doesn't go my way, I might be upset.
Gotcha.
For maybe a couple of hours. But then after that, I'm shaking it off.
Real. Just like, all right, okay.
Because at the end of the day, you can't. It's a business at the end of the day, and you can't mix business with pleasure.
Real.
So definitely have to have tough skin. I had heard so many no's, and it's hard, especially when your mind is set on retaining a client or getting approved to do, an interview at a event. When you get that, and I was just denied the other day for an event that I was really hoping that we could do our podcast on.
Gotcha.
And it was denied. But I said, you know what? It's okay.
Real.
It's not the right time. It's not the right time. And I might get a better opportunity.
That's right.
To interview these individuals that I want to interview at this event. It may be later down the road.
That's how it goes. What currently drives you in 2024?
Seeing people grow. I can't describe the feeling, but being able to see an athlete reach their greatest potential on and off the playing field, and I'm a part of that.
Real.
That just gets me going. And I think also being able to live through that experience as a former athlete.
Gotcha.
I understand.
Ground level. You understand what it takes, the things that you're going to go through. And of course, I'm not saying that I'm going to be able to relate to everything Gotcha.
4 or 5-star football athlete, but at the end of the day, we're all athletes.
Absolutely.
So being able to help them navigate through this process and seeing them overcome trials and tribulations, it makes me feel very, very good inside.
That's real. That's dope.
Like that is my ultimate high. When I see people, if I'm able to connect people, connect opportunities, and I just made a simple phone call and it comes out the way that person wanted to come out.
Win.
I've done my job.
Real. Jerry Maguire, Rod Tidwell. Come on. Real. That's real though. And while we on that, is it considered, I know it's PR management. Mm-hmm. Is it reluctant to call you an agent?
No.
Okay.
No. So I made over the last couple of years, I've had parents and athletes mistaking me as an agent. Okay. Because some of our roles.
I was about to say, I don't know. What's the difference? Like, what's the biggest difference?
Okay. The biggest difference is for an agent, their sole responsibility is to negotiate your contracts and to get you deals.
Gotcha.
Now.
It's okay.
As a PR manager or a brand manager, I'm helping you brand or build your brand so you can get those opportunities. So, for example,
gotcha.
I'm working with a college athlete. Now that NIL is in place, once we create and maintain their personal brand, now I start seeking out different NIL opportunities.
Gotcha.
Once that company or brand confirms that they want to work with my client, I then pass that information along to his agent, because now it's time to look over the contract.
Real.
The legal team is involved. They're looking at the contract. They're reviewing it, doing all of that good stuff, adjusting to where it's necessary. Once everything is signed and delivered and confirmed, that is when I come back into play.
Gotcha.
Helping the client build or create the deliverables that the company is looking for. So if the company says, okay, JQ, we need your client to post 3 times a week with our product. We're going to send you guys a product. He or she has to create content around that product, whether that's a product review or they're educating their followers on this particular product. Or it could be the brand is opening a new storefront in the area and they're having a grand opening and they want the client to make a special appearance.
Real.
So that's where I come back into play.
Gotcha.
But that's the difference between an agent and a PR manager. And I created a post at the beginning of 2024 saying I am not an agent. And when I say that video went viral, I just felt like it was needed. It was necessary because I don't want people to think I am here to negotiate contracts. And that's another thing that I relay in our initial conversation.
Is that okay? Is that something you're going to get into?
No. No, it's a cut through. Yeah,
I believe it. I
tried it. I'm kind of lying here because I did tap into it a little bit by taking a course with this very well-known sports agency. I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. Now, it was virtually, but just from the things that they were educating us on and, going over, I'm like, this is not for me. I want to be the behind the scenes. I don't want to be involved with people's money.
It was Club Shay Shay just had UFC Dana White on his podcast, and he was speaking about how, be careful with the agents, because the agents, they have 1 to 8 clients, but if they mess a deal up for you and mess your name up, they can still go on to their other clients. Your name is ruined, and so he was like, the agents, it is important for the agent to do their job and build and not tear down relationships. So that's
now
real.
It's the same thing a little bit with us PR managers or brand managers, because one of our sole responsibilities is building relationships with the media or brand representatives or company CEOs. So if I have 3 clients, I can't mess up on client A and do something stupid because then that's going to hurt the other 2 clients that I have. And it may not be at that time. It might be down the future. Or let's just say if this particular client is not on my roster, but another PR manager is like, hey, JQ, we seen that you did a deal with X brand 2 years ago. Do you think you can put in a good word for us? I won't be able to do that because I done messed up.
I gotcha.
The first time with my first client.
Real.
So it's the same thing. You just got to create and build and maintain genuine relationships with people.
How do you deal with the startups? Like, just say the startups companies. I'm just saying, I'm just go. We'll go headband like Al Iverson. It's a new company. They're like, hey, we're looking to get people. But you're not the agent, but you are brand management. So how do you? Like, do you dig into them, or is it not everything not a money grab, or it's like, what's the terms, or how does that work as far as like, or even if the client he or she may want, like, I've seen that company before, I would love to work with them. How do you deal with that? How do you?
It would be the same process because I also work with startup sport brand companies. So if they're looking for a brand manager to come in to shape their brand identity, we sit down and we have a very in-depth conversation on what do you want your brand to how do you want your brand to be seen from the public or from your fans? That's everything from offline to online. So getting a clear understanding of what their brand identity is so that can translate into their online branding is very important. I enjoy working up with startup companies.
Real, because, man, come on, that's building that from the bottom up is very important. I think it's very important for sure.
And it's not that I wouldn't work with a established brand already, but I'm so big on educating and going through the process. Right. Again, you asked me what drives me in 2024 is going through the process and being okay that it's not going to be overnight. A lot of people aren't built for that. They want things to happen instantly.
That's the world we live in.
They want, microwavable results. It doesn't happen that way. So if I'm working with a startup brand, they understand we are a startup brand.
Just like we are.
Exactly.
Climbing to the top.
Exactly. So it would be the same process if I'm working with an athlete versus a startup company.
Real. Scale 1 through 10, what do you rate your grind?
8.
Real. Respect.
I could go harder.
Real.
I could go harder.
Always room, right? That's
always room.
What are you doing currently, to ensure that you have a winning season in 2024?
Number 1, I am protecting my peace of mind.
Come on.
I'm not a person that allow distractions anymore.
Real.
With my story earlier that I shared about my college years, I think going through that shaped me to who I am today.
Real.
My tolerant level for BS is very, very small.
I gotcha.
So, my fiance, he gets on me because I don't.
Shout out to the man. Shout out to the man. In the building.
FFTV.
Come on now.
He gets on me from time to time because I don't loosen up. I'm so focused. I'm here. Well, that's how I gotta be.
Gotcha.
Because my playing days were back in college and I effed that up. So now I'm in grind mode.
Real. It's personal.
It's personal.
Real. I respect that.
It is personal. And don't get me wrong, I still have my personal life.
I was going to ask
I'll do things from time to time. But if I'm not with my family, if I'm not at the house working on my business, if I'm not at a sports related event, I'm at the house.
Real.
I don't do a lot of.
It has to make sense.
It has to make sense.
Not a lot of parlay and just.
No, it has to make sense. I'm a very strategic individual.
Real.
I have to sit down and say, okay, if I do this, this is what can come out of it, or this is what's going to happen. I wasn't doing that when I was in college.
Real. But you've been groomed for that.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the laundry. I'm thinking about the one hand in the back. You've been groomed for what's ahead. You're like, It seems crazy right now, but I know it's something that's real. That you come from that cloth. Let me ask you this. Dating back a year, what's something you learned about yourself?
You want to add to that? You want to add something? FFTV?
It's all right. He said you got 4 hours for me?
Let's see. I can be in my head a lot.
Is that a good or bad thing?
Bad.
We spoke off camera. We both share something in common. Anxiety.
Yes.
We were very anxious.
Yes.
100% of everyone that sat on that same couch has the same. Their creatives are very anxious. They're thinking about the next thing. I know you and your fiance walked in here and was taking inventory.
Yes.
Like you're thinking about like, okay, like, all right, this world is your canvas.
Yeah.
Like we see things from a different perspective. So your mind is always racing. In real time, you're thinking about 4 p.m. right now, 8 p.m.
Yes.
You're thinking about everything else. That's how you are like as a creative. It can block off things, but I think it's like we spoke as well, most people, go right into a, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Come home. It's laundry, kids, favorite talk show, repeat the cycle. Creatives, they're taking on 2.5 times that amount.
Yeah.
So your mind is always racing.
Always racing. And I mentioned to you earlier, I have a 9 to 5. And I've learned to separate the two. When I'm at my 9 to 5, when I'm in my office, it's all about the 9 to 5 job.
Gotcha.
When I get off, it's all about JQSportsPR.
Don't even mix the...
It was hard balancing the two when I first started doing this.
Gotcha.
But I've had to learn that you're going to have to dedicate your mindset or your thinking in categories. Because if not, again, your mind is going to start racing. And the only thing that I would say is the same when I'm at my office to JQSportsPR is my demeanor.
Gotcha.
Sometimes, I find myself when I'm working with clients at my 9 to 5, I'm very stern.
Gotcha.
Because I have to be the same way in JQSportsPR.
Right.
But no, it definitely is something that I've learned where being in my head can be a bad thing because I'm not a person to go and talk to people about my problems. I try to figure everything out by myself.
Gotcha.
Instead of going out and seeking advice.
Right.
But yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing that I've learned since being in a relationship.
Real.
Yeah.
What's something you learned about those around you in the last year?
Around me, people that I'm close with.
Just in general. Doesn't have to be close. Doesn't have to be just about what do you learn about people in the last year.
In the last year, that's a good question. I would say I haven't learned this in the past year, but people can be selfish.
Gotcha.
In a way where if you can't benefit them or help them, they don't want anything to do with you.
Gotcha.
And that would be people that are not close to me. The people that are close to me, they're not that way. Because
Gotcha.
I have a very tight-knit circle.
I believe it.
But just from watching other people and trying to build relationships with individuals, we'll start off a relationship thinking, okay, we can help each other out. And then as soon as they want something and I'm not able to give that to them, they're gone. I don't hear from them again.
Thank you for speaking on that.
And so I ask, well, what was your intentions from the very beginning?
It wasn't, it wasn't this for that. It wasn't, it came with something. Mm-hmm. It's like, wait a minute. Like, the minute they couldn't reap, it's like, oh, okay, no, well, all right. I deal with it too. I know exactly what you mean.
And it's sad because people like you and I, we have genuine intentions from the very beginning. So
absolutely.
So when people that we think that are
go ahead.
That are going to help us and we can create synergy, the whole time you were just looking for something from me, and that was it. And that's why I think it's so hard.
Go ahead.
Building with other people.
Because you have to be protective of your energy. Like you said, I have to be stern because of everything I've been through. And it does make a thing where it's like, but at the same time, you come from a household of integrity, so everybody ain't built like you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to endure way more
exactly
than everything else. That for a fact.
Exactly.
How does one move, outside of that, how does one move forward? How do you continue to make your mark knowing that's how it is, in building those genuine relationships from your end? How do you continue to go forward with that?
Being patient.
Real.
In the process. When you create a relationship with someone, don't be so in a hurry of continuing that relationship. Let things come naturally. Because I know for the first couple of relationships that I've tried to create or initiate, it would be, hey, let's meet up for coffee. Or the next week, hey, let's go to this event together. But it's kind of forced because they're not willing to accompany me at the event or go and get dinner or meet up for coffee or anything like that. Right. So just allowing things to happen at its own time.
Real.
And just being patient with that relationship, because we might meet today, we may not be able to help each other at this very moment, but 2 years down the road, there might be an opportunity. I might see you at an event and we're like, hey, we both got this going on. Now I think it's the perfect time for us to act on it, to execute it.
Real. As a human, do you feel like you misunderstood?
Yes.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on, let me clear that up. So this is
but I know exactly what you. Yes,
because, like I said earlier, I can be stern and my demeanor can be, oh, she's all about her business. Like she ain't. And I want that. But I think sometimes people take that as me being unapproachable.
Gotcha.
And that's not the case. I'm on a mission.
Come on.
Like if you come in with some BS.
I know what you're saying.
If you want to go club and party, I'm not the one for you. That's
a liability. It's not an asset
in my
life right now.
There you go.
I'm looking for assets.
Like, there you go.
I've done so much liable crap in the past. Everything has to make sense now. Everything has to make sense.
To the T. So I think I'm a likable person.
Real. You are.
I have to get to know you first.
Gotcha.
But I'm really big on energy.
Real.
Like I'm not going to lie to you. The moment I walked in, your energy, your vibrations, nothing but positivity.
Respect, sis. Respect.
My fiance can tell you.
Respect.
If an individual gives me an ounce to believe that, yeah, your energy is off.
Respect.
I'm gonna sit in the back and I'll be mute.
And you'll know.
And you'll know.
Get in the car, but all right.
And he'll know.
Real.
Like, oh yeah, you weren't feeling him. You weren't feeling her. Mm-mm.
And that's part of the agent.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's hard, but that's where your integrity, like, it's not a money grab.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm fulfilled in building with someone, so it's not about who has the most and all that. No, if we get there, we get there. And when we do, it'll be that because it was genuine. Our energies was matched. And I know you don't take on everybody.
I don't care how much money you throw at me.
Right. It's integrity. I stand on something. That's just real. That's real. I respect that.
Remember when you asked me off camera, do I like being in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Yes.
So I feel like when you're in the center of attention, it's hard to read people. And that's why I have a stronger passion and interest in being behind the scenes, because now I'm able to dissect the room and read people.
Real.
If I'm a celebrity, or when I say a celebrity, like a famous PR manager, because I want to make money and help people.
Gotcha.
I don't want to be famous.
Gotcha.
I want to make money and help people. And if that involves me being in the background and people never seeing who I am, I'm okay with that.
But are you dimming your light by not being okay with knowing you have a God-given ability and it might call for you to be a little uncomfortable? Like I said, it's a fan down here. Mm-hmm. I'm uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. There's lights on. I'm uncomfortable. This is not my normal. I had to step out of that.
I'm uncomfortable now.
I know you are. But that's tapping into that unknown.
Yeah.
It's like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
You know, on camera, you're like, and then you see him in the airport, you're like, man, why's this guy's head down?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this guy's a loner? That like he could step into the superhero and then go right back to who he really is. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's important in life. It's like, behind the scenes, that's your passion. Mm-hmm. But I know for a fact, like I said, doing my homework and before even knowing who you were, because I'm so tapped in with Atlanta culture. Yeah. You're built for it. You're born for it.
I appreciate that.
You don't realize it. And nobody knew Joe Budden, he didn't know he was built for podcasting. Yeah. Now I'm a rapper. Okay, I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
But we just don't know if we don't allow it to grow. That's just real. But you have that.
And maybe that's me being in my own head. Because I hear a lot of people that say that. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to be this. But then you hear multiple people, your loved ones, people that don't even know you and see you for the first time and say, you have a God-given talent being in front of the camera.
Absolutely.
It's hard for me to accept that, though. If I can be honest, it's hard to accept that because I'm still trying to fight on whether or not I want to be. Maybe I can do both, but I would say I'd rather be behind.
Real. Understand.
And not in front of the camera.
But you also everybody doesn't have the gift to be in front. To have the look, to have the spaz, to have the voice, and you have to have the voice, And think about this: it's a lot of rappers who are podcasting, and they have to, and they have to interview their counterpart. Yeah. So that could be very like, man, all right, man, how's platinum feel? like, all right, how was that double platinum album? So I know it could be a strain on. Like you're like, no, I'm really built for behind. While we on that, the Counting Me Out podcast.
Yes,
come on now.
Yes, Counting Me Out podcast. Shout out to my crew, man. I wouldn't have been able to do this without them.
When did this start? When did y'all? We spoke off camera about how this came, the origins, but how did this start?
So Spoon, my co-host, I worked with him. Shout out to Spoon. I worked with him on a different project years ago when I first moved to Atlanta. Gotcha. I found him as one of the players for a basketball league here in Atlanta. Gotcha. The league fell apart and we lost contact. A couple of years later, we had an individual that was part of an AAU program here in Atlanta that wanted to do a podcast. Gotcha. And they were looking for a female host. Gotcha. Remember I told you, I wanted
people see things you don't see.
Like,
right?
God, why you keep doing this?
Go ahead.
So he got in contact with me and said, hey, we're looking to do a podcast. We're looking for a female host, and we would like for you to be that individual. I did hesitate. I think I took maybe a day or two to respond, and I said, you know what? This opportunity is happening for a reason. So I took on that. And we interviewed our first client or our first guest, which was Flajay Johnson. Shout out to Flajay Johnson, talented athlete at LSU. But she was our first guest. And it was a little overwhelming for me.
I know it could, because you're stepping out outside of your, and this wasn't
just one camera. It wasn't just one light. She was also shooting a documentary. So she had her camera crew, and then the podcast had their own camera crew. So it was a lot. But that's when Spoon and I reconnected, because he was the third host on that project. Unfortunately, the interview never came out. So Spoon and I were like, yo, we got to do our own podcast. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it.
The name. How did you come up with the name?
It took a while for me to come up with the name, and I started thinking about my past experiences. I talked about being the outcast on my high school team.
Real.
People didn't, want to hang out with me or whatever. So I also combine my thoughts on what does the everyday person goes through, because I wanted this to relate to every single person, right? And came up with counting me out.
Real. Love it.
People being counted out as they're reaching their goals and their aspirations, or for the person that's already here, but they're still being counted out.
Even in a space that real. I respect that. I love that.
And it wasn't too feminine. It wasn't too masculine. I'm not your girly type. So I knew that Spoon was going to be the co-host.
Gotcha.
So I wanted something that was mutual.
Real.
That he could be proud of, saying, yo, you need to come on the Counting Me Out podcast.
Sure. That's dope. And did y'all ever have aspirations of bringing on another co-host, or was y'all two knew you was locked in?
We immediately knew that it was just going to be us two.
Gotcha.
And our personalities. Now, he gives me a hard time. If you watch the show, you'll see that Spoon gives me a very hard time with my notes that I have. But our personalities naturally just linked.
Gotcha.
It was perfect. We balance each other out. Spoon is more of the talker. I'm more of the moderator, sitting back, chiming in every once every now and then, and just keeping everying organized.
Dope. That's dope. And if you think about Nadeska, how she wasn't the main part. In the I'm trying to think of the podcast. What's the name of the podcast? I'm trying to get it there, but yeah. Everyday Struggle. That's it. Yep, just like that. But her everything she said was valid. Right on point, had to been said.
Yeah,
for sure. That's
and
dope.
I'm okay with that, and Spoon is okay with that.
Real.
Because sometimes when there's a podcast, people want to be the main host or the center of attention.
Right.
I'm okay playing the backseat.
Gotcha.
Again, I don't want to be famous. I want to make money and help people.
Stay out the way. That's
so I'm okay with that. And like I said, our personalities just
dope.
connected.
Dope.
And it's dope. It really is.
When did this start? What year was this?
2023. We shot our first show April of 2023. We did a photo shoot first because I wanted everything to look legit.
It has to. Come on,
I wanted things to look like we were already established. Yes.
We coming into it.
Real. And we're here to stay.
Real.
So we did the photo shoot, and then we shot our first episode April of 2023 at the Culture Lab. Shout out to the Culture Lab, man.
Culture Lab. That's what's up.
He very helpful throughout the process, because again, I was in my head, I was overthinking everything, and I knew I had people within my circle that was going to help me, guide throughout the process, but I was still overthinking, overanalyzing about everything from the equipment to the guests, and he was just there to say, JQ, relax.
Gotcha. Real. So for those who don't know, scheduling, podcasting, for the up and coming podcaster that's watching this today, that has their hopes, their sights set on starting a podcast, what's some things they should look for as far as learning how to schedule, what it comes with, tough skin? What's some things in your thought process that you need to have?
I would say when you're starting a podcast, you want to just get started. I think sometimes people want things to be perfect. It can get there as you're going through the process. But if you want to have all the right equipment, the right lighting, the right people, sometimes it just takes a smartphone.
Real.
And have valuable conversations or valuable content. What are you going to be providing to your audience and to your followers? And then once that grows, then if you want to start investing in product and paying guests and things like that, that's going to come. Sometimes you just have to get started.
Real.
The scheduling, you have to be organized. Again, Spoon gets on me for this, but sometimes you just have to lay things out. Now, there are times where Spoon comes in and he helps with booking the guests because, like I mentioned to you before, Spoon is very popular here in Atlanta. Like everybody knows Spoon.
Real.
So when he mentions, hey, we got a podcast, you need to come on the show, he'll talk to them. and he'll send me, hey, this person wants to be on the show. I already have my email template on the location, the time.
Right.
You know, making sure that
you're talking to me about. I said, what you mean? I said, I sent you the address, didn't I?
Yeah, I was in my head. I was overanalyzing. But yeah, just being organized is so important.
You mentioned proactive.
Being
versus
proactive,
reactive.
yes.
So true.
And we talked about this off camera. Being ready for the unknown. You might have someone that cancels that's scheduled to be on your show.
That's right.
Now you have to improvise, right? But still do it in a way where it's still good quality.
That's right.
I will also say be consistent. Having tough skin.
So true.
You're not gonna get 1,000 views your first
absolutely
100 episodes.
Absolutely.
It is what it is.
I often say it starts with one listener.
One listener.
Somebody took their time out. Be thankful for that one. Somebody took their time out and say, oh man, this is dope. And you got to be thankful for that. Don't look at what you don't have. Look at what you have.
Because if you're providing valuable content, those people are going to be attractive to your podcast.
So true.
It's going to happen. And with that one person might repost or they might word of mouth.
That's right.
Hey, you need to check out this podcast. I learned so much on whatever that niche is.
That's right.
So the word is going to get out. You just have to be patient. But being consistent, I think it's the hardest part.
Right.
Starting anything. A lot of people, they give up because, it didn't go the way that they wanted to.
The monetary value didn't come back. I hear it a lot. I know how it is. I do know how it is. It's like, it's a startup company. Yes, with anything.
And you have to remind yourself of that, because if you start comparing with your podcast to somebody else's podcast, it's going to get frustrating.
That's so true.
Because you're not performing like they are. So you're going to give up. Why am I doing this?
Absolutely.
It's not making me any money. I'm not getting enough subscribers, likes. The time is going to come.
It will. Absolutely. It's so true.
People are not willing to put in the time, in the grind. People want to associate themselves with things that are already established. And that's why I was saying earlier about what drives me is working with startup brands or athletes that don't get a lot of acknowledgement or recognition.
Gotcha. So JQ, what's next for you?
What is next for me is building my college athlete roster.
Really?
Right now I have 2 high school athletes and then I have a college athlete. I want to tap more into now the collegiate players and the professional athletes. Hopefully Cam is going to be my first professional football player next year.
That's what's up.
And then again, just growing the podcast. Dope. I told you off camera really quick that I don't know if I'm going hard enough with the podcast, and I know that we got something special. So finding those opportunities and building it to the max is something that I really want to focus on for the remainder of the year.
That's how to for those that are watching that's interested in maybe coming on the Count on Me About podcast. How do they get in contact with you? What are you looking for to be a guest?
You have to have substance.
Real.
Yes, you have to have some substance. You don't have to be an athlete, a former or active athlete, but someone that's able to provide valuable information.
Real.
You guys can contact me on Instagram, the Kind of Me Out podcast, or mine personal page, JQSportsPR.
That's right. It'll be in the subtitle on the listing.
Okay, cool. So either one of those platforms, you can send us a DM. I will require you to send over a pitch, a media kit or some sort, just so I can get a quick snapshot of who you are and what you do.
And please, no gas station photos in your.
Please don't. I'm sick and tired of it. Like what?
It's real. That's real for sure. JQ, let me ask you: when it's all said and done, what is your legacy?
My legacy, I want people to remember me as someone that is genuine, that tried to help as many people that I could. Again, just remembering me as someone that enjoys seeing people reach their success.
Real.
No matter what that is. Whatever success looks like for you, meeting that makes me a happy person.
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
Respect. JQ, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
I appreciate you coming here and joining us on the podcast for sure. First of many, sis, as tradition on the Integrity Sponsor. If you could reach into that bowl, grab one fortune cookie.
Okay.
Open it and read it to your supporters. And just like that, we out of here.
I like this. I like this idea. Go ahead there. It's different. No one else is doing it.
Respect.
Okay. All that we are arises with our thoughts.
Real.
That's deep.
All
that we are arises with our thoughts.
We are what we consume. We are what we think. Wow. Respect. JQ, I want to make sure I say it right. Sports management.
Sports PR manager.
Sports PR management.
Yep.
2024. Look out for everything she's already done, everything she's doing, everything she's about to do. If you count it out, understand that Counted Me Out podcast is the wave. It is here forever. Please stay tuned. We signing off. Salute, sis.